Alrighty. Alrighty tighty. Righty tighty lefty loosey. Who is Lucy? Now we'll move on to It's About Time collab. I called it It's About Time collab rather than the It's About Time collab, which is very confusing. I mean, either way, it doesn't seem to make sense grammatically, but whatever. This obviously being a collab based around the recent at the time Crash Bandicoot 4. I guess I'll just talk about it as I go, and then I'll try to mention each entry as they come up. Let's just see how it goes.
Bad guy.
Oh, yeah, and I know that meme was pretty dead by the time I made this, but whatever.
Sans Undertale go into my eyes. At last, crash or smash.
That's one of my favorite things with editing collabs like this, to have two different entries that, like, I could merge the jokes together, you know? I've talked about this a lot before, but like one of the things that I love about YTP collabs is doing them in this style, you know, having it so that it's a different experience than just watching everybody's individual entries one by one, like in a playlist. You know, I did talk about this a lot before. I mean, it works for some collabs. It does. But a lot of the time, if you're just going to play each entry one after another, then you might as well have just put them all in a playlist and told people to watch the playlist. You know, it doesn't add anything new. But if you edit them all together like this, watching this is its own experience outside of watching the individual entries, you know. A lot of people did stuff with his intro cutscene because, I mean, logically you would, wouldn't you? But it didn't seem like the majority of the collab was like the first few minutes of the cutscene, so that was fine. I'm glad I'm not the only person who still uses the "whoa" meme. Drugfish 2 returning from the Insane collab, and another great entry. I really like how this collab features some of the same people from the other 3 collabs that I've done. You know, we've got people like Drunkfish 2 and Shooting Films who were in the Insane collab, Graduator 14 and General Alpaca who were in Ripto's Regicide, and Humdinger 588 who was in Five Nights at Foster's 2. And then, of course, you have Shafrillis Productions, who is the only person to have been in all 4 of my collabs.
At least I don't polish my fingernails.
You take that back.
Midno127, really good entry, a lot of fun audio references. And this flipping Tropian Cortex kiss. I can't believe how good that looks, honestly. But yeah, another really good entry overall. And if you have the time, you should go and watch the YTP case study video they did on Crash Bandicoot. It's really good. It's like part parody and overanalyzing subtext that isn't really there. And also like part serious. It's a very good video. You should go and watch that. And watch their other stuff too. It's good. I thought of this idea early on. To be fair, a lot of people did a very similar joke here with, well, to put it bluntly, Uka Uka shitting himself. So yeah, I'm glad that I came up with my own thing to do here to put instead of that. Let's just say. Good God, that's loud.
Is he dead? No.
Crystal Crumbling unfortunately had a lot cut out. I really like this Madagascar bit. I actually added the Uka Uka noise myself when he gets hit. They also had the Did Somebody Say Pie bit, which I was able to nicely flow into the Dingo's Diner exploding, so that was good.
Oh boy, I'm gonna make some Bandicoot stew today. What?
Yeah, and I like doing this for the intro. I did start that a little bit on Twitter when the first demo for Crash 4 got released, and it had the level ship happens where he plays Cortex, and there's this little bit where Cortex sings and he says something about Bandicoot stew.
On a cold winter's night, have yourself a bite of Bandicoot stew. And
so I thought, let's just make a short little parody of Hedgehog Stew with Cortex singing it. And so I posted that on Twitter. So yeah, I decided to make a slightly extended version for the collab. So that was fun. And people keep asking, am I going to do a full version? I'm not going to do a full version because really, is there any need? It's one of the most common things that I get in comments and responses and things is people saying, am I ever going to do an extended version of this song? Am I ever going to do a full version of this? And most of the time the answer is no, because I make it as long as I need to make it, as I feel it needs to be, you know. Making it longer wouldn't add anything. For example, Shape of Woe, I made a full version of that because I incorporated the "whoa" meme, which was big at the time. And last year I made a full version of the DK rap version of Happy. And that's because I thought I can make an interesting kind of instrumental to this as well. I can use the actual instruments from the DK rap and incorporate those, and a lot of the lyrics worked, and so that's why I did a full version of those. Most of the time, I'm not going to do extended versions of these little remixes and stuff, so just keep that in mind if you plan to ask me that in the future.
I feel it emanating from the top of Mount Wanahakalugi.
Okay, I gotta talk about Pappy G's entry. In fact, no, you know what? I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to tell you to go and watch it. Go watch the full thing on its own. Because trust me when I say that it is a completely different experience than watching what little I was able to keep and include in the actual collab. So much of that I couldn't use, not because it was bad by any means, but just because I couldn't really separate it from the original product. So yeah, just trust me and go and watch, what's it called? Bill and Cortex's Interdimensional Adventure. Worth a watch, definitely.
Quickly, we must go.
Nah, I don't really feel like it.
Brown Blaze was an interesting entry because I'm not sure they understand the concept of cutting out the unedited portions of your entry. Their full entry was like 13 minutes long, and it had about, I don't know, a minute and a half worth of edits actually made to the source material. You know, for a collab, that's fine. That's not an issue because I was going to cut it up anyway, and the edits that they did make were obviously good enough for me to accept it. But funnily enough, it actually came in handy. There were certain parts where in order to make certain sections flow a bit better, I needed to add in an unedited clip from one of the cutscenes. So I just used Brown Blaze's entry because that's still technically their entry. It's just the unedited part of it. Pink Delilah T had some funny stuff. This and the Uka Uka joke at the start were my favourite parts, definitely. Total Schism, again, unfortunately I had to cut a lot of their stuff. There's basically this and the Dingodile Ribs joke. Oh, yeah, and the Cortex glitching Fuelisa bit. I like that, that was cool.
Oh shit!
Madly Plays, I think, was a pretty short entry, only ended up including a few small jokes anyway, like this one and the Everybody Do the Flop one. But yeah, still good stuff.
Are you fucking stupid?
A lot of people incorporated the fact that... Fudge, I've forgotten his name. What's his name? Why is it whenever I do this, I forget someone's name? Richard Stephen Horvitz. Yeah, a lot of people incorporated different voice clips that from other things that he'd done.
I'm going to jail!
The Meme Jester had a really good entry. I actually ended up remaking some of it because I couldn't download a high-quality version for some reason. But yeah, I like this police raid joke, and I like how it kind of comes back later to explain where Aku Aku was for the majority of the cutscenes, so it worked out.
Is that quantum?
What? Oh, so
I like that joke. Yeah, see, I like a lot of the stuff that I did as well.
Is that a quantum rift?
Stealing Stolen Memes. They had this recurring joke with Lani Loli screaming. The bit where he's inside the compartment, the Cortex opens, I love that.
There's something monumentally stupid.
That works so perfectly because Lani Loli is voiced by Richard Stephen Horvitz and Aku Aku is voiced by Greg Eagles, so it works perfectly to have that clip from Grim Adventures in there.
Uka Uka unknowingly paved the way for you to grasp my genitals.
I love this joke. 2-Bob-Bit had some funny jokes. Yeah, I like the bit with the genie. Embryo talking about memes and stuff. But yeah, definitely the genitals joke with Cortex throwing up. Perfection.
Once my rift generator.
Stardisk had some good stuff. This bit with Cortex was my favourite part. That was so funny. And I don't think they were the only person to reference AVGN in that Cortex hologram scene, but I think they definitely did it the best. Fandom Trash, along with Spinosaurus Studios, they were two entries that I originally rejected, actually. That's why they weren't in that little video where Cortex reads out everyone's names. But I was thankfully convinced to reconsider. Like, thing is, I try to be as unbiased as I can when accepting entries to a certain extent. Obviously, it's down to whether or not I like them. But I think because these two entries were sent to me pretty close to the deadline, and I'd already sort of started planning the layout of the full collab by then, I think I was a lot stricter than I would have been if I'd received them earlier. So I went back and I rewatched every single entry that I'd received and tried to view them all as like individual entries, and yeah, I eventually realized that yeah, both of them definitely met what I'd consider to be a good standard for YouTube poop.
So we need to be asked. No, it needs to be cock.
I loved Dialeri's entry. It really reminded me of, who was it? It was Vesteri Metal's entry all the way back in Five Nights at Foster's 2, where like, about like 80% of it is just reverse jokes, but it's really, really funny. I marvel at people who can consistently make reverse jokes that are that funny, because I can't do that.
I hear you've been working on strategies to stop me from taking over Boom Beach.
Master of Egg Roll, I think I only used a few bits from. Funniest part to me was with Crash dancing, and he makes that face for a single frame. I love that bit. That's good.
You want to fight, we gonna fight.
There's a good mix of different poopisms. You know, there's a lot of like references to other things, changing the audio for something else. There's a lot of sentence mixing and stutter loops and reversals and stuff like that. It's a good mix of lots of different stuff, you know. Spinosaurus Studios, another good entry that I almost didn't include. Yeah, some good stuff in there, even if the last 30 seconds was kind of a rip-off of Refrying Nemo, but I do like this Friday Night Funkin' bit. I would have included more of it, but I think it was a tad too long, but yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm so glad somebody did that Band Geeks joke. I was considering doing it myself if nobody else did, and I'm so glad that Pappy G did it and incorporated the Smash voiceover guy as well. That was really good. Hateful Mage's entry I really liked. It reminded me a lot of something that I would have made in like 2015 or something. Just very simple sentence mixing jokes. I like the Mind of a Mutant references with the I have diabetes and according to my watch and stuff like that. It was good.
I like to run around and squish things with my feet.
Elephant Dog had a lot of good stuff too. I tried to keep as much as I could. This Only Plays bit was funny, and I love the little stuff like Akano going no, and Embryo getting hit by the airplane. A lot of good stuff. Good entry. Carl de Croissant had a lot of good stuff. I really like this Donkey Kong bit. Yeah, I did condense it down a little bit, but I tried to keep most of it intact.
What's up, my
Guys, it's...
Shooting Films, returning from the Insane Collab. Really good entry. Shooting Films has such a fast-paced, chaotic editing style. It made it so that it was sometimes very hard to split it up because of how compact it was. But yeah, it was good. I like the frequent use of the it's been thing. Very good.
What did we, like, die or something? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I actually I added the sword slicing sound effect and the blood effect over the top of Pink Delility's bit there.
Well, good luck with that.
Wait, you're not coming? Hang on, guys, I'm coming!
Graduated 14 basically only had this Cortex watching the computer monitor bit. All the rest I cut out. Also, I love that these two shots here have two completely different computer monitors. But yeah, the bit later where he chucks the monitor off the balcony, the sentence mix Cortex swearing was so good that I couldn't not include this entry. Also, thank you very much for censoring the images yourself. Humdinger 588, one of my absolute favourite entries. They had this running joke throughout with Torna saying, I'm coming. Which, yeah, I couldn't really carry it through to the full collab very well. Go and watch the individual entry and you'll get the running gag much clearer there. But yeah, some really funny edits. This one with Crash and Coco, a lot of people's favourites. Also the Dingodile crying while watching TV. Oh, the flipping cactus joke. Ridiculously funny. I love that so much. It's so good. I really love how smooth this whole thing is. Each entry flows into the next one so well, and I know I'm just like praising my editing here, but that's something that I've definitely perfected over the course of making collabs. Because in Five Nights at Foster's 2 is a bit janky, even though I remember saying in the retrospective for that, oh, you know, if you don't pay attention, you can't even notice when it changes to a different entry. And it's like, yeah, you can, you flippin' idiot. My past self is a dimwit. Snuggery's entry had some great stuff. I love the Arthur joke. That works so well. Oh, and the one that made me laugh so much that's coming up in a minute with Kapuna while looking through the window. Oh, that's so funny.
So we was...
This sentence mix coming up right here. Oh my god, I can't tell you how long I was laughing at that when I first heard it.
I want to let him on the couch.
How did your brain come up with that? How do you think, oh yeah, that's something that I can make Glanny Lowly say? How does that even appear in your mind? General Alpaca, yeah, another really good entry. I don't know why this Doug Walker joke is so funny. I think it's just because it was the last thing I expected to happen there.
Awkward.
And yeah, I thought it would be funny to call back to the Doug Walker bit from a minute ago from Dial Larry's entry. So yeah, that was an edit I made. This flipping embryo bit is so chaotic, I love it. It's about 15 seconds of no dialogue whatsoever. It's just embryo noises.
Did somebody say pie?
D-Wolf. I think D-Wolf was an entry that I unfortunately had to cut a lot out in the final thing. But, you know, I still wanted to include as much of it as I could. There was some really funny stuff in there. I love the dramatic music in the scene with the two entropies and the close-ups on the characters' faces. And this Dingo Jowl joke here. That made me laugh so much. It's funny even without the context anyway, but like that's obviously the infamous part of the game where Dingo Jowl says bastards, and everyone was like, what? Dingo Jowl swear? For D-Wolf to just replace that with just a simple fuck, that's perfect. Bandipat's entry was, I think, one of the first genuinely good entries I received. Sorry, that does sound kind of mean, but it's always nice when you get past that early stage of like people sending you something within the first hour of announcing the collab, and you get to something that somebody like actually put a decent amount of effort into. Yeah, I love this centipede gumbo bit where they bait you into thinking it's going to be one of those like rhythmic repeat jokes that a lot of people do, only to just have him say centipede come on the third one and then just cut it off there. In fact, Carl de Croissant did that with the make 'em walk the plank bit earlier.
It's about time.
I think Super Mario Fan Studios was the only person who did a unique joke here. I mean, I say unique, it's the roll credits joke, but so many people did the he said it joke, either with Peter Griffin or with JonTron. And I just thought that, you know, that was too obvious. And also Shooting Films already kind of perfected that joke in the Insane collab anyway. But yeah, Super Mario Fan Studios, they actually also did a Hedgehog Stew joke with Cortex, which I didn't end up including. But that was a funny coincidence. I also kind of reshuffled their entry around so that I could sort of integrate Lanny Lowy saying, "Are you fucking filming us right now?" into Midna127's Dollar Store camera joke. So I kind of merged those two together. So that was fun to do. Super Suck 64. Yeah, I only used a few jokes from, which was unfortunate because it was actually already a pretty short entry. But yeah, I like this Wrath of Cortex joke here.
Wrath of Cortex didn't do as well as we'd hoped.
As well as the joke with 2 crashes later. OK Entertainment's entry was okay. I'm kidding. It was good. It was good. Great sentence mixing parts. I flippin' love the cyberpunk meme. It is funnier when they're in quick succession, so I hope I didn't mess that up too much by having there be a little bit of a bigger gap between each one. But yeah, that meme is so funny. It's funny anytime anyone uses it.
I guess you are my little pop champ.
I'll never get tired of sentence mixing with Cortex, honestly.
When's existence?
Yeah, so for those who didn't know, this was an animation error that I genuinely didn't notice, because I uploaded the entire cutscenes as its own YouTube video so that people could easily use that, because the only ones available on YouTube were ones with subtitles on. So I played through the entire game and recorded all the cutscenes. Genuinely didn't notice that there was that there was an error here where Cortex's model for some reason got replaced with Crash. I think it's probably because I'm still playing on the pre-day one patch of Crash Bandicoot 4, and I should probably get around to getting the day one patch at some point. I don't know. But if I get the day one patch, then that means that I have to play the baby version of Cortex Castle, the easier version that everyone says is so hard, even though I've already done the harder version, and I've already 100%ed it, so why would I want to do the baby version? It's a baby, it's a baby's complete Cortex Castle on the day one patch. Anyway, yeah, Cortex is Crash.
Bad guy.
Oh yeah, I put in that song myself. That's actually a mix of 2 different remixes of Bad Guy with Crash Bandicoot instruments. They're linked in the description of the video. I can't remember off the top of my head who made both of them, but yeah, they're in the description of the It's About Time collab, so yeah, go check them out.
I miss my wife. I miss her a lot. I'll be back.
S. Knight Marion, who is the one who put together that Mash Bandicoot full movie video, I think. Yeah, they only did this one scene, but yeah, it was good. And I actually used their BRB screen many times throughout the video.
How many times do I have to kill you, boy?
3.
Yeah, see, that was an example of me just using Brown Blaze's entry. Just the unedited parts, just so I could make my own joke in there. Just Coco saying 3 after that. Oh, and I like how in this collab, a lot of the main bosses end up just like defeating themselves. That was a funny thing that just happened to run throughout. And here's Shafrilus Productions. Yeah, I was surprised when he messaged me with an entry to this, because I kind of thought he'd stopped making YTPs, but apparently he still does them from time to time. I don't really know why I was surprised, because, like I said, he is now the only person to have been in all 4 of my collabs. So that's crazy. Good times. Remember back in 2016 when you forgot to watermark your entry, and I called you Scafrilus, and I had more subscribers than you did. No, I'm kidding. Congrats on getting to, what are you, like now 1-point-something million now? That's awesome, and you totally deserve that. And I like that you can still make time for us little folk. No, I'm sorry, I'll stop now.
There's another way I can end this endless cycle of endless farting between us.
In terms of like the stuff that I insert into the collabs that I make, I think this one has some of my better stuff, because I don't really like the stuff I did in Five Nights at Foster's 2. I don't really like much of the stuff I did in Ripto's Regicide, aside from the intro and outro. And, I suppose with Insane Collab, I only did the one bit, which was the Mine Song, which I'm proud of that. But for this collab, I have a few little sections here and there, and I think all of them are stuff that I didn't just put in there for the sake of having something in there. You know, this is stuff that I took my time with, and I'm kind of proud of, you know.
I can go back 10 flipping years and do my mother.
It's funny, actually, Chappelle made a very similar joke with Cortex there. But yeah, sorry, my editing takes priority here.
Imposter!
Well, I knew this was coming.
Yeah, that was so perfect. I think everyone was expecting that a lot of people were going to make an Among Us joke with that. But yeah, I think General Alpaca did the best version of that. The little jingle is actually what I made. I made it into the Crash Bandicoot theme. It goes dum 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 dum. So yeah, I sort of inserted that into there, and then it works so good with the meme jesters bit here with Uka saying, "I knew this was coming."
Oh, nigga, don't hate me because I'm beautiful, nigga. Maybe if you got rid of that old yee-yee-ass haircut you got, you get some bitches.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hello, Crash Bandicoot. No, stop! What are you doing? What are you doing?
Brickbuilt only did this one section here with this Markiplier joke. I actually ended up extending it a bit myself. I put in that last no scream because I thought it'd be a funny point to cut off with the viewer mail bit from Shafrilus.
Aren't you interrupting the story at the start? I'm not an idiot, buddy.
Miss Dan 64. This was, I think, the only scene they did, yeah. But yeah, they did it wonderfully. Brilliant example of sentence mixing with Cortex. Really clever, really funny.
Do you have any pasta? Yes.
This was such a perfect climax to this entire video. The fact that so many people just dragged out this joke for so long, and then in editing, because I merged them all together, I tried to include as much of everybody who did this. I included as much of it as possible to make it as long as possible. I don't know how long it is. I think it's like over a minute long, this whole bit, but it's just so perfect. I think I had the entire thing memorized at one point. I don't know now. I'll see if I can say it along with it. I need to stop him from making me, but I can't kill you, because that would kill him. That means that would kill me. But you can't kill me, because that would make you a bad guy. So I guess that means I need to stop you from making him. So I guess that means I'll have to kill me, because that would kill him. But I can't kill me, because that would stop me from making him. So I guess I need to stop you from killing me. But that would make me an idiot. So I guess that means I'll have to make you stop me from making him kill you, because that would stop you from stopping him from killing me. But I can't kill you, because that would kill you, so I guess that would kill entropy.
I mixed up.
I need to stop you, but I can't kill me, because killing me would be stupid, because that would kill me. But it's a sacrifice I am willing to make. Oh my god. That was just such a perfect climax to the entire video, really. That whole bit.
That's right, you're a dead motherfucker. Go to hell.
Dragon Ball Z Varashan HD, which I think I'm pronouncing right. Their entry was very unique in that it was essentially like a sort of compilation of different edits and jokes in a sort of sketch show format. And a lot of them weren't even necessarily related to Crash 4, but just to the Crash series in general. Which unfortunately meant I couldn't include those ones because it is a Crash 4 collab, but yeah, there was still a lot of good stuff in there.
works when I do it.
Sorry about that.
I love this. I wonder if the meme jester knew that Shafrelis was going to be in this collab, because I didn't announce anyone who was accepted until the deadline had already passed. So doing the back in the 90s joke and then having Tamatoa interrupt and then immediately me cutting to Shafrelis actually doing that in their entry.
The last thing I do. It's only a matter of time before my bandicoots do. Now nothing can stop me from conquering.
I like these credits. This took a long time to get to cutting out all these like shards and things and having the different entries play in each one. But yeah, I'm happy with how it looks. Everyone's got a little clip here and there in their own little shard at some point.
Some bandicoots do in the afternoon. It's the last thing I do. I'm going to get that orange buffoon.
Yeah, that was good. So that was It's About Time collab. So yeah, out of the 4 collabs I've done, that is probably my favorite one. I mean, I do like Ripped His Regicide, even if some people had a bit of a few complaints here and there about a lot of the ear rape and stuff like that. But you know, that was sort of like a story merged with the collab, and it was a bit weird. Five Nights at Foster's 2 is quite dated now, honestly. I do still like the Insane collab, but I think that this one is like an upgrade, you know, from that. I think I definitely like nailed down the whole style of editing these collabs and merging different entries together and having it all flow really nicely throughout the entire thing. You know, I remember people saying in the premiere when it finished, they were like, that was 20 minutes? It's like, it doesn't feel like 20 minutes because it all just flows so smoothly. So that was nice. So yeah, pretty proud of that. A lot of good entries in that. I would definitely encourage people to go watch the individual entries. Everyone who was in the collab is linked in the description of the collab. So yeah, go and check them out. And definitely the ones that I specifically mentioned to check out the individual entries, because it is a vastly different experience than watching their little parts here and there in the collab. I will say, I think because of how big the channel's gotten now, and something that I kind of underestimated quite how much work it was to put together a collab. Back when I made Five Nights at Foster's 2, what was it? We were like on 5,000 subscribers. And then obviously when I made this, we were over 50,000. So yeah, vast difference in the amount of entries that I received and I had to watch through. It was a lot of work to go through each one of them and like try and be as unbiased as possible. And again, like I said, I sort of messed up a little bit. And for that reason, well, not for that reason, but just because it was a lot of work, I don't think I'm gonna do it again. I don't really see myself doing it at a collab quite like that again. I mean, I won't say never ever, but it's so much organization for a collab that's like a public collab. But I might do a private collab. I don't know, because then I can have a bit more control over like who's in it, and you know, I can pick people who I know are gonna deliver, you know, and not have to sit through thousands of, well, it wasn't thousands, it was like, it had to have been close to 100 though, entries that I had to watch through for that. But yeah, pretty happy with that. Like I said, it felt like a good sort of round off to the 4 collabs that I've done. You know, we had people back from the previous 3 collabs I'd done, and it felt like this was the pinnacle of collabs that I've done. I feel, everything I say, I feel like I'm giving myself too much praise, and I'm worried that I'm coming across too immodest. But yeah, it was a lot of fun putting that together. Let's just say that. Let's just say that and leave it there, and we'll move on to the next video. Now we'll move on to Flockwood's Oversized Meatballs. And yes, that title is a reference to The Sky Had a Ouija, if anyone was still curious about that. Also, speaking of which, do you guys remember when that Hey SpongeBob clip briefly became a meme a few months ago? That was weird, right? I mean, on one hand, it's cool that a clip from YTP became a meme, but I sort of got the impression that most people who did the meme didn't even know that that's what it was from. So, you know, go watch Hurricoaster. But anyway, like I said earlier, I did have the idea for a Quacom YTP for quite a long time. Probably from like as far back as when I had the idea for a Madagascar YTP, actually. It was that long ago. And I just kept putting it off because I didn't really think I'd be able to come up with enough jokes to fill an entire video. Also, a lot of it was down to finding a decent way to actually get the movie. You know, I didn't have a good DVD ripper for a while. I used to do it by setting it up to record on my PS2 and just playing the movie. But yeah, I eventually got a good one, and this is the result. Oh yeah, and I said this as well in my last retrospective, that if I keep doing so many subversions of the I am thing, then people aren't going to know what I'm subverting. So I've got to make sure that most of them are the actual Strangler ripping off the mustache.
Different.
Oh yeah, so this video got age restricted after about a month, I think, of it just uploading. Again, like, people ask me why it's age restricted, and it's like, I don't know. Okay, they don't tell me. But I assume it's probably because of this first scene, because of the Jews joke, and also the joke that's about to play here.
Everyone is going to die tomorrow.
Which is strange because they don't seem to have a problem with PBG Masters the keyboard, but maybe it's just because it's like in the first minute of the video, I don't know.
When all seemed lost, I stared at defeat.
Get it?
Oh yeah, and here we have the 8-bit drummer. It's a funny coincidence actually, not long after I uploaded this video, the 8-bit drummer did a cover of Activate the Dance Spot.
Activate the dance spot! Cortex Robotnik collab album win. God, I wish.
Steve, my trust friend and bested colleague. I can't count. Help.
Oh yeah, so this idea with Steve being voiced by a roboticized version of the DK rap, that was one of the first things I thought of for this video. That, along with the whole preparing the Krabby Patty narrator remixes, yeah, those were like the two main things that I thought of ages and ages and ages ago.
Preparing the Krabby Patty.
Oh, and somebody actually pointed out to me that that big blue switch is not actually the switch he flicks there. It's a smaller switch that you can't really see because of the video quality. It doesn't matter. It's still a funny joke, I suppose, even if it doesn't quite make sense. Oh yeah, and I tried to add a few little funny visual edits in this bit, just so it wasn't just the remix playing over the top of the movie. You know, like the flipped flint and the loading percentage going down. Oh yeah, and that's an I Am Bread reference for those who didn't know. If you haven't played I Am Bread, don't play it, but look up the official soundtrack, because oh my god, what an amazing soundtrack that game has. I can't believe how good the soundtrack is for I Am Bread, of all things. Honestly, it's amazing. Look it up if you haven't already.
It had been almost 10
flipping hours
since Mom died.
Oh yeah, this is funny. Actually, there's a couple funny things. There's in the background there is Gonna Die from from the one of the Only Plays animations. I think it was by Cruddy Hands, wasn't it? I guess that's supposed to be like Flint's mother or something. This 10 flipping hours thing, I put this in specifically because by this point I'd already made my part for the recent, well, I don't know if it's recent now, but depending on when this video comes out, the Christmas Karaoke with Hark and Friends collab that Jimmy Davis did. In the 12 Days of Christmas part, I didn't pick number 10. He gave me number 10, and it just happened to work out that I got Cortex to say 10 flipping hours in the 12 Days of Christmas song. Because that was sort of a bit of a running joke. You know, I'd used it in Mash Bandicoot, I used it in Mash Bandicoot DLC, I sort of used it a little bit in It's About Time collab as well, but I specifically put it in this video to make it a more obvious running gag, you know? So that by the point that people would watch that, if they were familiar with my videos, they probably maybe had picked up on the 10 flipping hours running gag thing. So that was I kind of reverse engineered a running gag there.
You feeling it?
I did a lot of sign edits in this video, somebody pointed out. There's at least 3, which now that I say that doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm very happy with how that looks. That looks very clean. Not clean in the world, it actually looks quite dirty, but like, it's a clean edit.
I'm really feeling it.
I'm really happy with that, honestly. That looks almost official. I believe I posted that on Twitter on the same day that one of the characters in Smash got announced. Also, I've said quite a lot during this video. I posted this on Twitter, I put this on Twitter. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you should probably follow me on Twitter. I know a lot of people have said to me they just don't want to go to Twitter. I understand Twitter has a bad reputation. There are a lot of awful people on there. But you can pretty easily stay within your own little bubble. You know, just follow a few people here and there, only look at the things that they post. Never ever click on anything on the trending tab. That is all clickbait, and you will regret it immensely if you click any of them. If you do that, then you'll be fine. You'll be safe.
My beautiful angel son, Cal. My beautiful angel son, Cal, represents my eye.
Oh yeah, this Earl bit, I originally had it to go on quite a bit longer than this. There was a deleted scene, I suppose I could say. Well, let's just say it was going to involve certain characters saying the N-word a bit.
You know what you are, Flockwood?
No, what?
Hey, nigga.
Ha! You nigger!
What did you say? Don't say it again.
I want them to have a bright future. A future in which you don't ruin our town's future. Sauce!
I mean, that's not entirely the reason I cut it out, even though I do get the message that maybe I do that a bit too much. It was also just because I didn't think it was very funny. That's the main reason to cut something out, isn't it? Not because you're worried it's going to upset people, but because you don't like it. Not to say that only your opinion matters, but you know what I mean.
Well, you know, that's...
And my eye represents my eye. Ooh.
gosh, it's me.
It was this video where I got heavily into using motion blur, specifically zooming in and out motion blur, which I didn't really use that much before, because I realized that the editor could actually kind of do that pretty effectively. Like I said, I'm still discovering new things about this editor that I didn't really know it could do before.
It's me, the mayor.
I don't know why that "it's me the mayor" thing became a running gag in this video as well. There's quite a few of those actually. Quite a few running gags in this video. Also, I like this shot. I'm not sure how many people noticed all the edits in this shot. We got two Tims here. The guy who's clapping in the foreground, he's also partly in the background. He's also even further back in the background on the grass. And then he's even further back in the middle of the road as well. He pops up later as well, actually, I think, on the scene with the pier. I think he's in the background there too. Funnily enough, I think this was the first scene I started editing and the last scene I finished editing. This scene specifically was the scene that convinced me to make this a full video. Like, I was originally thinking this video wasn't really going to be that long, it was just going to be sort of a shorter video. I was even considering putting a disclaimer saying that I couldn't think of enough jokes, so this video is kind of short. You know, it's sort of just like a mishmash of the edits that I was able to come up with. But then I thought of this idea, and I thought, this sounds really good, and I think I can make a really fun scene with this. And that was basically the point where I was like, yeah, I'm going to make this a full, like, at least 10-minute video, probably. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't... It's a cloudy with a chance of meatballs poop. I couldn't not use the Officer Earl running meme. But yeah, I'm very proud of that. That's probably one of my favorite, like, mid-poop remixes.
Cause minimal damage to Sardine Land.
It's a lot of people's favorite jokes there. It's funny. It's just because I think it's just because of the ear rape, mostly, why that's so funny.
What are they made of, soft? Exactly. I mean... Wow, shush.
Oh yeah, that's a running gag as well. I'd actually forgotten that I did that. That was a running gag with Sam, that she would say sus or sus or something like that, and then immediately realize she said that and instead say something slightly different. It was still a sussified word, but it wasn't specifically sus. and then later on Flint comments on it and says, "Why do you do that?" Yeah, there he is, in the background on the left there. I'm really happy with that, actually. The Krabby Patty and the trash can bit. That actually looks quite nice with the like the shadowing effect on it. I think that looks pretty good.
It's me, the mayor.
I'm really surprised this didn't get copyright claimed for me using this song. Also, I don't remember what this scream is from. I wish I could. It was from a specific video that I just happened to be watching, and I thought, yeah, I'll just use that scream.
Can you make it rain food again, please?
And there's the thumbnail right there. This is exactly midway through the entire video. And I know that because this was not a thumbnail that I specifically chose to be the thumbnail. This was a thumbnail that was one of the 3 suggested thumbnails when I uploaded the video. And I looked at that and I thought, oh yeah, that actually will make a really good thumbnail. So that's why that's the thumbnail, because it's exactly midway through the entire video.
Welcome to my house. Not many girls come in here because I get friend zoned so frequently.
Wow, you've never seen a shower.
Oh yeah, that was going to be a joke a little bit earlier, before I changed it for something else. I think that was before I came up with the, you may have seen a monkey, but you've never seen a kitten. It was originally just going to be Sam was going to say, you may have seen a meteor shower, but you've never seen a shower, and then that was going to be the end of it. It was just cut off there. But yeah, I came up with that other thing, so I'm glad I kind of brought that joke back here.
Mashed potatoes?
No.
Peas?
No.
Steak?
No.
Apples?
No.
Applesauce?
No.
Chicken wings?
Okay, well, just think about what you're saying, and if it's a food, then
No.
I do really like a lot of the jokes in this video. Oh, yeah, no, sorry, I lied before. This was the final scene I worked on. This was really fun. This was basically just a lot of how many different things can I add into this one scene and keep it all going along with the sunshine, lollipops and rainbows music. And then also just trying to find as many clips as I could think of with like food or something falling from the sky. I think I remember actually just typing into YouTube food falling from the sky and seeing what random videos would come up.
pass.
Coming right up.
Oh yeah, so there's a lot of different games that he's playing on here. There's Tetris, there's Among Us, there's DDR, there's Worms. Is that Spyro? Oh yeah, no, that's Spro. That's because this was not long after I made Spro. In fact, I think this was actually like a day or two after I made the Spro video when I edited this scene. So I thought, yeah, let's just put Spro in there.
Flint, what's the problem?
Death. Like,
This?
Yeah, I don't really have too much to say on some of this stuff. A lot of it just kind of speaks for itself, you know. The edits are what they are. There's not that much interesting backstory to any of them. It's just some funny edits I made, you know. There's a lot of sort of more out there edits, like the remixes and the masking and stuff like that. And then there's also a lot of just like simple cutting and splitting stuff. It's a good mix, I'd say. I'd say it's a pretty good representation of my style of YouTube poops, you know. This was a last minute thing as well. I'm so glad I changed this. I think it was originally just going to be sort of like an extended version of the yellow bit, but with jello instead of yellow, obviously. But I'm glad I shortened that and I did this whole piano bit. That was funny. I think I said this before, but like a lot of the time I think of the simple edits later on. My mind doesn't immediately go to that. My mind thinks, oh, what would be cool to do here rather than what would be funny. It's the simple, just like sentence mixing and simple edits that are actually laugh out loud funny. But then there's also the, the more ambitious stuff that is not exactly you laugh at, but it's more so that you're like, oh, that's cool. But you don't actually laugh at it. It's just you sort of appreciate it, you know. Does anyone else feel like that when they're watching a YouTube poop?
You're making a big mistake.
I don't get it.
Yeah, see, this is True Arceus again. I do reference him quite a bit, actually, don't I?
I'm thinking pasta.
I'm thinking pasta.
Oh, that was a joke that I thought of very early on, the I'm thinking pasta bit. That just works so perfectly. I don't remember what game show it's from. I remember I just found it on like funniest game show answers of all time.
Name something London is famous for.
I'm thinking pasta.
So I just put that in there because the mayor says I'm thinking pasta as well. So I just thought it would be a funny reference to that. That just worked out so well.
I mean, bigger is bigger, right?
When he says bigger is bigger there, you can barely notice it, but I did edit it so that Flint's face when he says big is covered over the bet. But it's so seamless that you don't even notice it. Like, I might as well have just left it and just had it so that his lips say bigger is better, but you hear bigger is bigger. And I'm sure it would look the same.
Luigi, look! Wow.
And somebody commented and said, why didn't I do the lots of spaghetti meme here? That's obviously the joke, right? That I'm not doing that. The joke is that I'm subverting that. Is that not clear? Okay, I put that in because I find that so funny when people do that in YouTube poops, when they just have text up that just says a character died and don't show it. I edited this. No, that is right. I edited this and then I didn't really know where to put it because this takes place during the second food storm. And I'd already planned out like that I was going to finish the video before it actually got to that point in the movie, but whatever. It's a funny gag.
I want to kill you guys forever using mainly spoons.
Oh yeah, the music we're playing here is from, I believe, Scooby-Doo Who's Watching Who, which was an old game that I had on my PSP. The Get Him is from the pilot of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, and the Oh No Don't Get Me is from me. My first part of Ratchet & Clank. I've never played Ratchet & Clank. And in case you're wondering, yes, I am planning to do more of that, hopefully this year.
Meatballs.
Yeah, and then this is where the video ends. I've had a lot of comments, people telling me, like, am I going to do a part 2? Am I going to continue it? No, I just ended there. Like, I literally don't have any ideas for anything that took place beyond that part of the movie, you know. So I just thought, I'm just going to end it here. Why not? I know there's sort of like that expectation when you do a YouTube poop of a movie. You want to sort of start the poop near the start of the movie and then finish the poop near the end of the movie. But there's no rule that says that you have to actually get to the end of the movie or anything like that. So yeah, that's Flockwood's Oversized Meatballs. I'm glad that I finally got around to making a YouTube poop of that movie, because it is one of my favourite movies. I certainly didn't think I would do it last year, actually. I made Mash Bandicoot DLC and then also did the It's About Time collab. I thought, I'm probably like done for the year now. Like, I don't really need to do much more than this. Not that I feel like I have a certain like quota to meet for YouTube poops every year or anything like that, but I thought I was kind of all drained out by that point. But it was fun to just work on something, you know, simpler, like I've said before. And yeah, like I said as well, I think that is a pretty good representation of my my editing style. I think that's got a lot of what you typically expect from an NPCarlsson YouTube poop. You know, it's from a source that I like. And it got a lot of praise, a lot more than I was expecting, because I honestly thought that this wasn't all that good. But I think it's because I think I hold myself up to a high expectation, which I probably shouldn't do. Because it means that I'm constantly worried that something I put out isn't going to be met with as much admiration as some of the other things I put out, which, you know, it's going to vary all the time. But I'm so glad that I have you guys who will watch and appreciate a lot of the stuff I do, whether it be a YouTube poop that's not that extravagant, not that long maybe, or not of something that you're particularly familiar with, or even any of my other videos, like even this video, for example. Like, I really appreciate you guys who are still watching this video right now. Because I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. I know everyone's not going to watch videos like this, especially ones that are this long and get this far into it. The other day, I was actually looking back on comments on my last retrospective. It sort of came to a realization that, like, actually, yeah, people do like watching these. It's a surprise, I know, but actually people like my channel. And there is, even if there's not, shall we say, a ginormous amount, some of you will get that, and why I'm bringing that up now, I still appreciate it. And it makes it so that it's definitely worth making stuff like this, because people definitely do like learning about some of the intricacies and the backstories in some of the videos that I make. And I'm glad that a lot of people like that video. I'm glad that it finally got over 100,000 views, even if it did heavily stagnate. If you can't watch it because of the age restriction, there is a link in the description to another version that doesn't have the age restriction for some reason. Anyway, that was Flockwood's Oversized Meatballs. I've only got a few left. Right, so now we will watch The Fowl House. I'm going to do all 5 episodes, even though I know it doesn't really quite make sense because episode 4 and episode 5 were made this year. Whatever, it's really no point in leaving those until the next one. I might as well just watch them all in one go. Yeah, obviously, these videos, this series came about after my recent obsession, shall we say, with The Owl House, which just kind of just sprung up out of nowhere about this time a year ago, I think. I just thought, hey, let's watch this show for some reason, and now I love it, and it's like my favorite show, and it's I don't know, it's strange. And as is customary for the things that I like, it only made sense to just completely desecrate it. So let's get into this.
I am the good witch.
Zelda, warrior of peace. Ship.
And that's the end.
The end of what?
My YouTube poop.
Where's the pizzazz?
But I don't like editing convoluted bullshit.
Basically, I put that bit in as sort of a kind of meta thing, I suppose. It was sort of a way of saying, you know, these videos, or at least they were never intended to be like as big and heavily edited and super complex as you'd kind of expect some of my YouTube poops to be. I intentionally wanted these to be a bit more laid back, a bit simpler, and sort of just going with more or less the first thing that came to mind. So that was kind of the vibe that I was going for. For the first 2 episodes, I did stick to that vibe, but I think by the 3rd one I thought, you know what, why am I limiting myself here? You know, I might as well just go super extravagant, and that's why I think the series definitely improved from that point onwards. The last 3 are definitely the best of the 5.
What? Samita, the owl lady?
You are one.
That was quite a funny thing. That was just like different words she said. I just reversed them and then built back up her saying, "So I'm Ida, the owl lady." I don't know how that worked.
You got away with it. Shit.
Me?
That's kind of a weird thing to say.
I had so many animations cut out for this whole series because, you know, it's a 2D animated cartoon. It meant that a lot of the edits look super clean, and because of the animation style, you know, a lot of the time the characters are pretty still, and usually it's just like a few appendages or just their mouths or their eyes that move.
Also, I'm a cat. You're not.
I'm here because I'm here.
Oh man,
that sounds so seamless. That's crazy how seamless that is. Oh yeah, that's Lego Eater. That's like just like a meme within the Owl House fandom, basically. That was kind of a thing I was going to keep going. I mean, it appears again in episode 2. I think I kind of went into it with sort of the mentality of like, I wanted this to appeal to people who maybe weren't familiar with my videos, but were maybe familiar with the Owl House. That shifted by the time we got to episode 3, because, you know, as I'll explain when we get onto episode 3. I like that. I like that because like that's purely a visual edit. Have it not just all be like sentence mixing or ear rape or whatever like that. You know, because I put visual gags in there. I often come up with the visual gags while I'm editing the whole thing together. But the visual gags are usually layered on top of an existing gag that's done with the audio. That is just purely visual. There's no audio gag there at all.
Good morning, terrifying fantasy world.
Good morning.
I had a different idea here. I think I was going to have the Snatcher from A Hat in Time up here and say good morning, because there's a good voice clip of him saying good morning.
Good morning!
But yeah, I think I just thought, let's just have it be Hootie. And it works because there was already this shot that was lined up like this with Hootie coming over the side of the roof. And that was very easy to just line up with the existing shot with Luce looking out of the window.
Your first day as a girl.
Yeah, again, that's another just purely visual gag there. I did not plan what I was going to do there. I just thought, let's just have Luce draw something random. But I had no idea what it was until I actually got around to editing it. And it's just Among Us.
Teach me something.
No.
You mean yes?
So I had a deleted scene here. I'll just play it.
Magic staff, come.
Good morning.
Yeah, I do quite like that, and I kind of wish I'd kept that in, but I guess I took it out because it just didn't fit neatly into what I was doing in that scene already. I needed it to flow a bit better, and also I think because Hootie's like in the next shot, basically at the door, and he says, "Have a nice trip." I think it didn't really work.
Big houses always belong to big people with big packages into my mouth. Haha, yes.
What the fuck?
I love the way Luce says "what the fuck" there. That sounds so good. It doesn't sound like a sentence mix. It sounds like she actually said that. I think I had an idea like, oh, I'll have that be like a running gag throughout the rest of the episodes. Did I follow through on any of those running gag ideas I had? I don't think I did.
It is written, you, Luce, are the hero of Corridor.
This was a pretty complicated edit, actually, because that right hand is Quantum's hand. Because I had to completely recolor that for every frame. And then also lip sync Adagast to say what Quantum's saying. Yeah, it was confusing. But it looks good. I'm happy with it.
Look, kid, everyone wants to die. But if we all waited around for...
Yeah, again, I don't really have too much to say on this. It's just like the edits speak for themselves because they're so simple.
I'm sure.
So yeah, those first two episodes, they're okay, but the third one, I think this is when it really gets going. This is when like the quality jumps up a lot, I'd say.
Aw, come on, bitch. It's not every day you get to take a dump.
No.
Oh yeah, that Minecraft bit. Yeah, I'm not an avid Minecraft player, okay? I've played some Minecraft, but yeah, I didn't realize that hitting a TNT block wouldn't cause it to explode. Or I think it used to do that in like very old versions of Minecraft. They used to blow up when you hit them, but then they changed it. So yeah, the joke doesn't really make sense, but then I correct it in episode 4, so it's fine. That was a pretty complex shot, actually, getting Amity to run over Willow like that, because I had to get the background separate, and then I had to get Willow separate, and then I had to get the little carriage thing with Amity on top of it, with a Santa hat on top of her, and have the wheel spinning, and having it kind of have that green glow around it, and then have that fade, and then pan up from that. It was complicated, but yeah, it was worth it.
Hold. Mama.
Okay, so I have a deleted scene here, and fair warning, I hate it. I really hate it. It's so awful. I don't know why I ever thought it was funny. So yeah, I'm probably making it sound worse than it is. It's probably just me that's going to find it like really, really cringeworthy to watch again, but you'll probably find it okay. So this is what I was originally going to do here.
Willow! Wow, you're Willow! Willow. This is why people call you Willow. Predictable. Oh, looks like Obama wants to say something to you.
I know it's not always easy to do well in school. I know a lot of you have challenges in your lives right now, but at the end of the day, none of it will make a difference. None of it will matter.
But yeah, I just hate that. And also, I don't know how I would have even gone about masking Obama there. Like, that would have taken so long. I don't know what I was thinking. It's not even funny. It's not even worth it. So stupid. But obviously I do have an Obama joke a bit later on because, I just wanted to do that because they say abomination, and I just thought I could very easily change that to Obama and have some kind of Obama thing. I think that the joke I do later on with Lou saying I'm Obama and I talk weird, it works much better. But you'll notice in that deleted scene that I brought back the Ida saying predictable, which I then actually used in a second, which you'll see. In fact, I'll just play it right now.
As top student, it's my duty to top students. Nice. Sus.
Predictable.
Yeah, so instead of her saying predictable, what I was going to have was, I was going to bring back the what the fuck. I was going to have Lou say that. But then, because I changed that whole scene and just had it being Amity saying, as top student, it's my duty to top students, and then click, and then say nice. It just works so much better. I'm so much happier with that than what I was originally going to go with. Ugh, it's awful. It's awful what I was planning.
I know how we can both get what we want.
King dancing here. This took so darn long to cut out. I specifically cut King dancing out here just for this one shot. And once I'd done that, I was like, okay, I've got to reuse that animation now. I can't just have cut it out just for this one bit in this one episode. So that's why I bring it back in episode 4 and then put it in the anime intro in episode 5 as well, because I just thought I got to make the most of this. It took so long. So yeah, I don't know what I was doing here exactly. I just thought it'd be funny to have a music thing. The music is from Monsters Inc. Scare Island, by the way.
And what would you teach? How to get fucked by a duck?
Fuck yourself!
That's a nice sentence mix as well. I think that sounds pretty good. I think it's because it's just the emphasis that Alex Hirsch put on a lot of those syllables.
Willow, you would not believe.
I'm honestly surprised that I've never made that joke before with Fireflies and have it go, you would not believe. How have I never gotten an opportunity to do that yet? But I'm glad I got at least one believe in the Val house. And again, like I was saying before, by this episode, I kind of ditched the whole mentality of like making this appeal to people who hadn't watched my videos necessarily before. I think it worked out better for it because there's references in here to like some of my other stuff. There's like there's obviously the Belial thing. There's the reference to the money bags bit in a second. There's it says embryo says on the chalkboard in the classroom. There's a Crash Bash reference. Just little things like that, making it sort of feel a bit more like a typical NPCarlsson YouTube poop, and I think it's better because of that.
I'm Obama, and I talk weird.
This shot right here, like, because of the style of animation, it's very easy to just compose kind of things like this. Like, in the original episode, like, Luce isn't here. Willow's also added in. I mean, she is stood there in the episode, but I cropped her out and replaced her with a different one. But yeah, like, unless you were familiar with the episode, you wouldn't necessarily know that these characters were added in afterwards. You'd think I just sort of took a clip and cut it up a bit. But no, this was a remade shot. As is this shot as well. It's really weird with voice actors. I don't know, it happens a lot. Like, you've got people like Roger Craig Smith, Kevin Michael Richardson, who are just like in everything. And then obviously you got people like Richard Stephen Horvitz. And those people have usually pretty distinct voices, and you can recognize their voices regardless of what character they're playing and whatever you're watching. But then there's other ones where I think what it is that you just see the character. You don't focus on the voice necessarily. Like, I know that Mae Whitman, who voices Amity, she also voiced Cinder in one of the Legend of Spyro games, I think the Eternal Night. I've never actually played the Eternal Night, but I remember what she sounds like from Phoenix King Soccer's entry in my Riptors Regicide collab. The other one that blew my mind when I figured it out. I was watching a video by It's Rebecca Rose. If you don't know who that is, she's a YouTuber. She like made Owl House related videos, theories and discussions and reactions and stuff like that. And now she actually works on the show, which is kind of insane how you can go from a YouTuber talking about the Owl House to being a production associate or something on the Owl House itself, which is kind of strange. But anyway, I was watching a video by her, and she mentioned that the character Boscha, if you haven't watched the show and you've only watched my videos, you won't know who Boscha is because she's not properly introduced until episode 6. And obviously I never got onto episode 6. But she's the fuchsia-haired, three-eyed girl. And she mentioned that she was voiced by Eden Regal. And I was like, Eden Regal, I recognize that name. I definitely recognize that name. Who's Eden Regal? And so obviously I go onto IMDb, I look up Eden Regal, I scroll through the stuff she's in, and I'm like, do I recognize anything? Turns out that Eden Regal is the voice of Coco Bandicoot in Crash 4. And then as soon as I read that, I was like, yes, of course she is. How did I not make that connection? It's like exactly the same voice.
What are you gonna do? Spit your human venom on me? We have a thing where we fight, he loses. It's a well-established dynamic.
I don't know. It's very strange. I'm sorry I went on a big long tangent there about voice actors, but it's just really strange how you just don't make those connections sometimes, even though it seems so obvious.
I've got my eyes on you.
This edit, this is one of the very, very rare occasions where I think an edit is going to be more complicated than it actually is. It's usually the other way around. I usually think, oh, this will be easy. Then I start editing it and it's like, oh my god, this is actually really, really complicated. This was actually incredibly easy to do. It was literally just, I painted over her eyes for every single frame. And it wasn't even that many frames. I think it's like 30 something frames. It was literally that easy. Oh, this is one of my favorite gags. I love that so much. It looks so good. Before I edited that, I wasn't planning for it to have the, like, you know, the background music, like the strings build up and then it just immediately cut off and just go. But then I just accidentally did that in editing and just cut it off and it works much better. Oh yeah, all of the shots that are like on camera are stuff that I actually filmed with my camera. I filmed my monitor. You might think it's like, oh, it's a cool effect, but actually it's just a way so that I can get some kind of camera shake in there without having to edit the camera shake in myself. It's just me being lazy. I love that. I'm happy with that too. Just the audience laughter in there, and then just bringing back Patrick's laughing and just going, oh, just right at the end. I think that just makes it so much funnier.
This force field should protect the house from boiling rains.
Shut the fuck up!
Yeah, I think I had a couple different ideas, I think, for what Hootie was going to say here. I think at one point he was going to say, hurry it up, fucko, or something like that. But just a very simple, like, hoot, shut the fuck up, hoot. This works, I think it just works much better.
Someday I'd like to be a boy.
Oh yeah, a couple people pointed out that, I mean, this wasn't intentional, but because I had Luce say in episode 2, your first day as a girl, and then here I have her saying, someday I'd like to be a boy. And it's, I didn't mean to actually make so many references to Luce's gender, but it just kind of worked out like that. Okay, I'm going to pause here. How many people noticed this? I genuinely don't think many people noticed this. Take a look. I'm not sure if you can see it that well, but just look here. Just a bit below the Ida flying through the sky. What can you see, like, in the sky there? Do you see it? Tell me in the comments if you see it. Don't say what it is. Don't give it away to anyone, but just write in the comments, I see it. And if you do that, I'll give you a heart.
No.
Yeah, I just put the giraffe there. I don't know why I did that. I think the blanket was green. I just thought I'm just going to chroma key this out and just put that image of a giraffe in there.
Oh, gross! Tonight, I will show you how to cast trains.
A lot of this episode is just, you know, this Ida teaching Luce how to be a witch kind of bit. Because I didn't really have many ideas for what happens in the rest of the episode. So I just kind of mainly focused on everything before, you know, the power goes out. So, you know, it's all just this first section of the episode.
Now, everything comes from something.
Right.
I do like a lot of this dialogue throughout this bit. I think it works really well. Oh yeah, so this was, a lot of people talk about this, like, how did I do this? I basically just traced over the original Homer face, and then just, like, matched it up with Luce's color palette. You know, that didn't actually take very long. What did take long was the in-between frame, which I'll see if I can go back to. Just right there. That took a long time because I had to draw that essentially from scratch. That wasn't tracing over anything. That was just sort of me trying to make a halfway point between Luce's original face and the face I was turning it into.
Smile! You're on camera. I'll kill you.
Okay, so I want to mention this. The recoil here on the gun, that's probably the best recoil animation for a character holding a gun I've ever done. And keep in mind, I have a lot of that. There's a lot of times where I give characters guns and have them shoot those guns. This is probably like the most realistic recoil I've ever edited. Like, have a look at this. That looks good. Like, I'm not even going to be modest about that. That looks good.
Ida's dead!
Oh yeah, so I want to point this out because this is really funny. Luce saying Ida's dead there. I mean, she does actually say Ida's dead in the episode, but what I did is I took the without the two D's on either end, and I just reversed that. And for some reason, that just made it sound so much funnier. Like, I'll play you both versions, the original and the edited one.
Ida's dead! Ida's dead!
Yeah, I have no idea why I thought to try that, but I did, and it just sounded so funny to me. It's such a subtle thing, and yet it made such a difference.
So why do you look so happy?
And again, this is another one of those shots where, like, Luce and King aren't here, like, in this actual shot. I had to recreate the fireplace because I think they're actually stood outside where I took this from. So I had to kind of change the lighting a bit so it made it look a bit better.
We can't just leave her on the floor.
And like I said, I wanted to use the King dance again because I cut it out. Same kind of thing with the Flossing Skeletons as well. I brought them back because, again, it was an animation that I cut out. I'm going to make the most of it. And by the way, I will say this. Reignited Bone Dance, unironically amazing. Like, I don't care what people say, it's hilarious, and no one will ever change my mind on that. I've seen so many people be like, oh my god, the new Bone Dance is horrible, it's flossing the air horns and stuff. It's funny, come on, it's funny. It's not cringy, it's not stupid, it's not dated, it's funny. Alright, so now we're on to episode 5, the longest of the 5, and arguably the best, maybe, possibly better than 3, I don't know.
No. Shit.
I wanted to do an anime intro parody thing for the longest time, and this was the best place to do it. The music is from The Sims 2, so it's not actually Japanese, it's gibberish. The text is Japanese, though. I wonder if anyone's bothered to translate that yet. Okay, so this is a pretty subtle edit here as well. Pay attention to Gus here. Watch him carefully.
Big coven, small coven, big dog coven, small dog coven.
Did you notice that? I'm not sure many people noticed that. That was a lot of effort for something that most people wouldn't notice even happened. I love this bit. This is good.
Principal bump? What the fuck?
So I had 2 ideas here. My other idea was, students ask me all the time, principal bump, fuck you. That was going to be the thing. It's like, it's not even a question. But then I made him say what the fuck, and it sounded so funny. So I changed it to that instead. But thankfully I got him to say fuck you as well. So I got both of them in there, so that was good.
You're the never.
I'm not going to go over this again. I did touch on it earlier on in the video, but yeah, I do realize that the characters saying the N-word, it's kind of been a bit of a go-to joke. It's very easy to do, and I do kind of rely on that a bit. I'm going to try and cut back on that a little bit. At least whenever I do it, I have, like, the characters react like it's such a deplorable thing that someone said that.
Generation of criminals.
Oh, God, they're criminals.
Flipping Crystal Fisher. I don't know how I've never used the oh god they're criminals in a video before, or at least not a video on this channel.
I must hasten home to check my new car.
So this short cutaway to the Simpsons game, I think at one point I debated making a full YouTube poop of the Simpsons game, but this was basically the only joke I came up with where Martin would get hit by the car. So I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna put it in here, it doesn't matter, and it's funny.
Evil fucking kids.
I can't pretend that's not funny. That's just so stupid and hilarious.
I'm gonna head home and wash my foreskin. Fuck off, bitch.
Okay, so you might have heard it there. You can just about hear King off to the side saying, makes the King say, yeah, yes, you know, like he says earlier, because the idea was that these 2 scenes were happening at exactly the same time. And if you go back to that bit, if you really try, you can just about hear Ida saying, I'm gonna head home and wash my foreskin. It's very quiet, but it is in there.
I'll tell you what. It's one thing.
Oh yeah, I was going to mention this in episode 4. I actually forgot to bring it up. A lot of the time in this series, in fact, in a lot of my videos, I tend to do it. If it's like a pretty still shot and like the main focus is like one character moving and like, you know, cutting back and forth sporadically, I tend to have like the background or the other characters in the scene not doing that along with them. You know, so you'll notice here, like, with Luce cutting back and forth in different poses, saying different things. Amity isn't doing that. Amity is just, like, you know, moving very smoothly.
Facing down her rival Hector. Get the bog of immediate dinner.
Oh yeah, and I like to do things like this as well, where I do one edit, and then I do, like, another edit on top of that edit. Like, treat it as if the first edit now becomes the source material. You know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, no. I don't need to explain.
Hot dang, I love hot dogs.
So I like this. This was a pretty last minute idea, actually, to have the hot dog coven that I referenced earlier. The reason I did it is because I needed a picture of a hot dog, obviously, right? For Willow to hold. And I spent ages going through Google Images trying to find a good picture of a hot dog. What came to mind was Hank Hill saying, I just want a picture of a goddamn hot dog. And so then I thought, maybe I'll actually put Hank Hill in the video. So that's exactly why he's here. So he's running the hot dog coven, essentially.
You know her? No. You know her?
Yeah, I was originally going to have Principal Bump say, she's an imposter there, but I changed it to, you know her. But I'm glad that I managed to bring that back for the full director's cut thing. I managed to squeeze that in there.
Versus Amity Blau. She's not Amity.
You'll notice this guy here who says she's not Amity is also like directly behind himself there in the background. And I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to edit him out of the background now, aren't I? And then I was like, wait, what the hell am I talking about? No, I don't. This entire scene is characters being in multiple places at once. If any time was appropriate to leave him in there, it would be now. Here's an edit that was probably way too much effort. I'm going to go through like frame by frame here so you can see this. So yeah, we got 2 Amitys here, and then switched. And then we got loose and Amity, and then 2 looses, and then switched. And then it cuts back and does a reverse shot, but with loose. That took so long to get them all there. So much work. Not really worth it.
Amity, don't step any closer. Why, loose? What happens if I...
Yeah, I actually used the Jason Derulo version of What You Say there.
Good.
Yeah, this was a reused animation from the first episode, in fact. I think I used that earlier in the Simpsons game bit when she said, he'll be fine. It's because she looks so dopey there. It fits perfectly.
I need your help. I accidentally killed Amity, and I think she's dead.
I think I made that sentence mix first, and then thought, I really want to include that, and so that's why I decided to have Luce kill Amity. That's where that idea came from. It's because I made that sentence mix first, and I thought, oh, and now I've got to have her kill her now.
Well, a deal's a deal.
Did I make too many sex jokes in this one? I don't know. Maybe I did.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, lose.
I love that. That was pretty much the first idea I thought of when I was coming up for ideas for episode 5. Because that just works so perfectly, and I'm glad that so many people like that as well.
And so, Luce's new GF showed Luce her tips, and Luce showed her new GF her penis.
Yeah. One of the only times where I've made a sentence mix and then genuinely felt the need to apologize for it. I mean, I came up with that and then needed to find a place for it because it was so easy. Like, if you know the original line of dialogue, it was so easy to make that sentence mix and then just have it end on the hooty smug face works so perfectly. But I do slightly regret putting that in, but I knew that if I didn't do it, if I missed my chance to include that sentence mix, I would regret it so much more. But yeah, that's the Foul House. That's the Foul House episodes 1 to 5. Again, I didn't think that I would only do 5. Like I said, I was planning to do 1 for every single episode. I mean, I kind of knew that I wouldn't actually get around to every single episode, but I didn't think I'd stop at 5. Like I said, because I kind of shifted gears at episode 3 and kind of like started putting more effort, started putting more complex edits into it and started making it feel like a traditional kind of NPCarlsson YouTube poop, that kind of contributed to the burnout that I had by episode 5. In fact, by episode 4, really, I was kind of burnt out. That's why I knew that episode 5 was going to be the last one. And I mean that. It is going to be the last one. I'm not going to do any more. I'm not going to change my mind on that. But yeah, I do wonder if I'd continued what I was doing for the first 2 episodes and having it be that short, that simplistic, that going with the first idea kind of vibe that I was going for. I wonder if I would have done more episodes. But ultimately, I think it worked out better, even though there ended up being not as many episodes as I'd planned. I think the series is much better because of me shifting gears by episode 3. I definitely think that the last 3 episodes are the best of the 5. If I had to rank them from best to worst, I'd probably say that 5 is the best, only just beating out 3, then 4, then 1, then 2. I think 2 is the worst. But yeah, I did really enjoy making those, even though I did get burnt out by episode 5. I did really enjoy making them. And I'm glad so many of you guys enjoyed it as well. You know, some of you who aren't even familiar with the show, you know, you've told me that you've never watched the show, but you get a lot of enjoyment out of my YouTube poops of it. Some people even go as far as to say stuff like, the show wishes it could be this funny. I get that you meaning that as a compliment, but like, you're insulting the show that I like, alright? I do like the show. And ultimately, like, they're not really on the same level. You know, you can't really compare the humor of a YouTube poop to the humor of a Disney cartoon, which isn't really primarily a comedy anyway. So I get what you mean, and thank you for that. But yeah, it was a fun series. It was interesting doing an actual series like that. I've never really done that before. It just made a nice change of pace, really, and I really enjoyed making them. So I'm glad so many of you enjoyed watching them. So thank you very much. Oh, 3 parts down, 1 part to go. The next one will definitely be the last one. Again, I did not expect this retrospective to span across almost the entire year, but what are you going to do? Same as before, if you have any further questions related to the YTPs I covered in this part, then leave them in the comments. I will respond. Or just, you know, leave a comment anyway. You know, come on, please. I feel like you guys have been slacking on comments recently. I don't know. I do still read every single goddamn comment I get. I don't know why people are still surprised when I reply to them. Like, what do you think I do once a video is published? finished. I'm right here waiting for the comments to come in. So, you know, go ahead, write something. Might as well. I know you got some thoughts bouncing around that beautiful head of yours. It needs to get out. Just do it, come on, for me. Anyway, I'm not sure when the next part will be out. As of now, I've covered every YTP that is currently public on the channel. So obviously it depends on when these 2 collabs are complete, and then I can go over my entries in both of them. I'll let you know. I hope I'm safe to announce this. I assume I am. It does look as though the 3rd and final part of the King and Mick's Mealy trilogy is nearing completion, which is awesome. I'm so excited for that. Could be, you know, anytime within the next few weeks, if all goes to plan. Like I said before, I won't be uploading my entry separately on this channel because, you know, it's a story collab and it won't make any sense without the preceding context. I will make a trailer for it though, so, you know, when that trailer comes out, the full video will also be out, presumably, in case you didn't already know that it was. In the meantime, please go and watch the first 2 in the trilogy if you haven't yet, or even if you have, just watch them again, seriously, they deserve the views. The playlist will be linked right here, so you have no choice, unless part 4 of the retrospective is out by the time you're watching this, in which case that will be there instead. But please go and watch those 2, get you hyped up for the 3rd one. But yeah, thanks for watching and or listening. Be pretty strange if you were just watching and not also listening. But yeah, I'm glad you're all enjoying these so much, and I'll see you next time.